This is video 2 for Convergence and the Reshaping of Mass Communication, Chapter 2. So this video covers the 5 trends, and I want to explain them to you so that you really understand them. The first trend is concentration of ownership and conglomeration. So what this is talking about is this trend where we've had fewer and fewer companies own the bulk of the mass media that we watch or consume. So we've had a lot of big companies gobble up smaller media companies, or two like-sized companies merged together. And really, most of what we watch and see or listen to or read or whatever is coming from the same conglomerate, conglomeration. So what is a conglomeration? A conglomeration is a giant corporation, an umbrella corporation, in a sense, that has lots of smaller companies underneath it, some of which will be media and some of which will be non-media companies. And we'll discuss some of that impact later. The second trend is globalization, and this goes right hand in hand with concentration of ownership and conglomeration, because a lot of these conglomerates, in other words, these huge companies, are multinational in terms of ownership. So we'll have companies that are partially, Japanese owned and partially German owned, or partly American owned and French owned, and we're also seeing companies do business not only in their own native country, but across the world. The third trend is audience fragmentation. We've talked before about how we used to have mass audiences for particular media. So you might have a lot of people watching a show on ABC. You might have a mass audience, but now that we have so many different things available to us, we see the audience getting much more fragmented. And in fact, media is being created to target very specific slices of the audience. So you might watch on TV, you might watch, I don't know, Nickelodeon, and your mother might watch Lifetime and your dad might watch ESPN. Or you might have Surfer magazine, a subscription to it, whereas your sister has a subscription to People magazine. So it's really targeting slices of the audience. And let me go back and say, even People is not the best example. We might say your little sister subscribes to American Girl magazine. So that's even more targeted. The fourth trend is something called hyper-commercialism. So hyper-commercialism is when we see more and more non-editorial content mixed in with what should be regular straight content. So it may mean that we have more commercial breaks in a TV show or in a radio program, or it may mean that the advertising is actually embedded into the video game or the movie or the television show that we're watching. And we'll see a lot more examples of that throughout the semester. And a word to know about this is product placement. That is all about hyper-commercialism. The fifth trend is the erosion of distinction among media. So before, a newspaper was a newspaper, a magazine was a magazine, a radio show was a radio show, etc. But now, a newspaper like the New York Times also has an online presence. And in fact, now the New York Times does video. You might have a children's TV show like Dora the Explorer, but you might have a Nickelodeon magazine. So you might have a channel actually like Nickelodeon and then have Nickelodeon magazine. Or you might have, a video game, but then have a movie based on that video game. So it's getting much harder to say that there are distinct branches of the media. There are two connected ideas with this final trend. One is convergence, and that's just to say that every branch of the media is really available online now. So we can play radio through our laptops, we can watch television through online, etc. Second word I want you to be aware of is something called synergy. Synergy has to do with when you take an idea and you express it through multiple outlets. So you might come up with a Disney movie, say something like uh, Frozen, and you'll have the movie, but you'll also express that same idea through a soundtrack available to audiences to buy, through a book that is based on the Frozen story, through perhaps a TV show based on the movie. They haven't done that yet with Frozen, but as many outlets as you can express that idea through, that's synergy.